It's one of the toughest high school sports out there. It's physical, it's mental.
Finish, Tyler, finish, Tyler.
And just before the state tournament, when you can tell the boys from the men, you might just find a girl.
Went the wrong way.
Brooke, I think you got to switch hips a little sooner.
Brooke Sauer is a senior at Golden High and the first girl in Colorado sports history to qualify for the state tournament in wrestling.
I'm just taking it one match at a time. That, I can't overlook any of this, and I can't be satisfied with just stepping on the mat and, going out there and losing.
Her record is an impressive 27-12. She's beaten good wrestlers to qualify, but she's still fighting for respect.
Just make them think you know what you're doing.
I want to go out there and wrestle my best and wrestle how I've been wrestling all season and really show that I deserve to be there just as much as just the 15 other guys that made it.
Her biggest fan, not surprisingly, is her coach.
Hit it now, Brooke. You can't stay there all day.
Who also happens to be her dad.
And when she said she wanted to wrestle for the high school, I was like, I'm your coach, man.
Dave Sauer says when the kids hit the mat, the daughter thing goes away. Brooke is just another wrestler. But the truth is, they're having the time of their lives.
By God, she brings it. She brings the game every match.
And come Thursday, she'll bring it again in what may be the last tournament of her wrestling career.
If you can't get to New Orleans for Fat Tuesday, why not bring Fat Tuesday to Colorado?
Of course, if we was in New Orleans, we'd be showing skin and everything else.
Annie Avery may be back in a wheelchair.
Oh, honey, when you do the music, you have to go to work.
But that doesn't mean she couldn't throw a party for a couple hundred of her new best friends at the Life Care Center in Littleton.
Look at Rita, and she cute.
If anybody needed the beads, balloons, beans and rice, and best friends,
Yes, please.
it was Annie.
Carnival is the party where I guess you forget all your trials, tribulation, and cares and woes.
Annie lost her house and her home city after Katrina, but today she just wanted to give to others.
I wanted them to know that it's life outside of these walls, and they can have a good time. Where's my hot stuff?
It's pretty clear that Annie Avery gets a lot out of life because she gives a lot to life.
Well, I don't know nothing else to do.
And that's why when the true saints go marching in, you better believe Queen Annie Avery will be at the head of the line.
Welcome to the Sporting Woman. We're the original.
And once the Sporting Woman opened, the rush to Cherry Creek North was on.
It's so special. There's no place, not only in the country, but probably no place in the world with this concentration of women's sports stores.
This is Daisy Sports.
Welcome to Lucy.
For right now, Canadian import Lululemon is just a small showroom.
This is Little Lululemon. This is Title IX. Woohoo!
Every single store offers something different. Yoga, exclusive brands, designer golf, running shoes.
Right now, the only thing missing is the big stuff like women's skis and kayaks, and even that will be here soon.
When Boulder's popular Outdoor Divas opens in the fall, Cherry Creek North and Colorado sportswomen will have it all.
Probably the women of Denver, I'm going to guess, have no idea how special it really is.
Welcome back, Ryan. Thank you.
When Lance Corporal Ryan Mobley came home from Iraq, the brownies at Fox Creek Elementary were waiting, and so were the cookies.
Sweet. I love Girl Scout cookies.
These Girl Scouts in training persuaded customers to buy cookies and donate them to hometown heroes.
A hometown hero is where someone goes to, like, Iraq. I pledge allegiance to the flag. They fight for freedom. The United States of America.
Now these brownies have a few questions for this Marine.
I'm gonna ask him if he missed anything about the United States.
My family.
And if he earns any pins or patches.
Yeah, I got 2 medals and a ribbon when I was over there.
Was he ever scared?
When I first got there, I'd never been to combat or I've never been to Iraq before, so I didn't know what it was going to be like. I was scared out of my mind.
Did any of his friends die?
Yes, I lost 2 of my friends over there. Why did we fight over there? That's kind of a hard question to answer. I usually don't think about the politics and the reasons why we went over there. I just think about what I need to do to stay alive.
What has he learned?
I learned mentally I can take a lot more than I thought I was capable of because, I don't know, there's just a lot of stuff you're exposed to when you're over in Iraq, and it toughens you up mentally.
But not even a tough Marine will pass up a soft Samoa.
You know, we had heard a rumor that they use Girl Scout cookies as bargaining chips in card games and that they're actually worth more than money.
That might have happened. I'm sure it did.
If that's the case, Lance Corporal Ryan Mobley is one rich Marine.
All right.
Thanks to troop number 2124.
Hey, cadets! Exercise!
It's 6:15 a.m., and members of the Army's 2nd Brigade Combat Team are saying good morning to their world.
Used to date a beauty queen.
From the formations
Now I date my M16. 1, 2, 3.
to the push-ups to the 2-mile run. Afterwards, a pep talk from their new commander about the brigade's new home at Fort Carson.
We've done well integrating into the mountain post here. The mountain post did great work for us, you know, putting their arms around all the soldiers coming in, and we appreciate it.
This is the first active military unit to ever return from a war zone to a new home base, and that war took a heavy toll. Nearly 70 soldiers from the 2nd BCT died in Iraq, far more than any unit at Fort Carson.
Do you think about the guys who didn't make it back alive?
Every day, sir.
This live fire drill is aimed at keeping soldiers alive during their next deployment, which could come this fall.
Colonel, what are you most interested in watching an exercise like this?
Biggest thing is, you know, making sure that the platoon leader employs every asset that he has.
Those assets include state-of-the-art weaponry.
Sit right, 10.5.
And of course, the soldiers themselves.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead.
Their last year and a half has been a whirlwind.
For this drill, the soldiers are advancing on stationary targets. But for most of them, life has become a moving target. For some 50 years, the 2nd BCT was headquartered in South Korea. Then came the deployment to Iraq. They fought hard for a year, and while they were there, many of these soldiers found out that their new military home when they got back would be Fort Carson.
And he's now a corporal, effective immediately. Yeah! Okay, congratulations.
The men celebrate when a comrade is promoted from specialist to corporal. This is a family, going around the world to fight, and then to a new home base has taken a heavy toll on traditional families. Sergeant First Class James Hunter is recently divorced.
And it's bad to say, but it's a lot of marriages that, you know, after the deployment, you come back and the marriage is basically empty.
Okay, the enemy has essentially broken contact off the hill, and now they're moving to clear it.
Colonel Bannister is aware of the strain and feeling some himself as he transforms the 2nd BCT into a lighter, more versatile force. The brigade is being held up as a model of what the entire Army is trying to become. Less armor, more mobile, and ready to deploy.
It's been a rough road, but you got to pick them up by the seat of the pants and get them moving on the glide path. Well, I told the battalion commanders and the sergeant majors, I said, hey, you know, we can't eat the elephant in one sitting. You got to eat it a bite at a time.
Still, it's a lot to chew on as this combat-hardened group of soldiers waits to learn where it'll be fighting next.
Romeo.
Casey Craig
Somebody. Yeah.
is on friendly terms with animals others would fear.
You know, playing with a 250-pound mountain lion is a lot different than playing with your little brother.
He should know. Casey grew up living and playing with all sorts of exotic large cats.
When I was in kindergarten and first grade, I thought everybody had a tiger.
Now he helps care not only for tigers and mountain lions, but all sorts of big cats on this sanctuary operated by his family on the Eastern Plains. It's called the Wild Animal Sanctuary. The founder is Pat Craig, Casey's dad.
We kind of focus on the large carnivores because those are the ones that people don't want to take care of, or anybody outside of the normal zoo system, because they're too expensive, they're too dangerous.
Not one of these big cats was born in the wild. They're part of a huge black market.
They're breeding them and selling them as pets, even though it's illegal. They still do it, just like people sell guns or drugs or anything else.
So it's up to the Craigs to rescue these animals, frequently with the help of law enforcement. Some are abandoned, others abused. Like this mountain lion named Tonka.
The guy that had him put a chain around his neck and then tie it to the tire, but then as he got older, he was able to drag the tire around, and so it ended up, by the time when we got him, the guy had like 3 or 4 tires tied to the chain, and so he was just stuck in the backyard.
When they're brought to this 140-acre sanctuary, they discover life here is very different.
We really strive to make sure that once we've rescued something, that it has a quality of life, and that's important.
What else is important is public education. When you're done seeing the cats, check out the Craig's Visitor Center. You may be surprised to learn this sprawling sanctuary has no interest in getting bigger. They see success as becoming smaller, a lot smaller. But the only way that will happen is if there's an end to the illegal pet trade.
That hopefully in 5 or 10 years or 20 years we'll be out of business, because there shouldn't have to be places like this.
But right now, unfortunately, there's a crying need for this sanctuary. It's estimated tens of thousands of large cats are living outside of zoos, with hundreds more illegally bred every year.
Come here. Come on. Yes. Thanks, sweetheart.
Eddie is a black leopard. He was born here after his rescued mother turned out to be pregnant. Eddie's enjoyed good care his entire life, and that makes him very different from the rest of these big cats.
This is a sanctuary. This is a home for these animals. They've all been through some really terrible things in their lives, and now they're finally at a place where they can live the rest of their life together.